3 weeks ago, markets were in free fall. Iran has just entered the war, oil was spiking, and every index I cover was breaking down. Today, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq are back at all-time highs. The DAX and the CAC 40 are right at the top of the range. In 3 weeks, the entire correction has been erased. So the obvious question is the bull market back? Is this the start of a new leg up, or is it a fake out we should be careful with? Because here's what bothers me. The ceasefire is not quite confirmed. There's still some tension. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. The uncertainty that drove the correction has not really gone away, not fully at least. But the price is telling a different story. In this video, I will walk you through every index I usually cover, show you what the charts are saying, and where I stand now, bullish, neutral, or cautious. And before we start, if you want the exact routine I use to screen these markets in 10 to 30 minutes a day, grab the free swing trader playbook at investorhorizon.com. Link is in the description below. Let's get into it. Starting with the analysis of the S&P 500. So we didn't do an analysis last week, right? So the candle you're seeing is basically last week, sorry. We didn't do the weekly analysis for the week before that, and we stopped right there. So the drawing that you're seeing on the chart are from 2 weeks ago, and what we were saying is we want to watch out for that support that broke through and we had a pullback, right? That green candle right there, and say this will be key to know, are we going to have a dead cat bounce going back up, pull back towards the support, now resistance, and then drop further. It actually came back within the range, and within just the next 2 weeks, these two candles, very big compared to the rest. Look at the volatility, look at the amplitude, the size of this candle, right? So a lot of buyers coming in, and we very clearly broke past the previous resistance area and closed above. So in itself, this is actually positive. This is great. Technically, it means like we can be aggressive again as per the risk management. However, the way that this consolidation was absorbed was very steep, right? It reminds me a bit of like this, of course this is like more dramatic, but the Trump tariff crisis, right? And yet this took longer, right? It was a V-bottom, but it took longer to absorb. You can see that it lasted over many weeks. Here, the size of that last candle is just really big, right? So I follow the news a little bit, but I don't use that for my trading. Just my common sense tell me that the situation is not quite resolved in the Middle East, and it's still uncertain whether the conflict is going to continue or not. I'm really not sure. Yet the chart seems to be saying like, oh yeah, for sure, like we are back to the top and let's go, let's run wild. So I find that there's just a discrepancy there, right? It's just not a line. So I would still remain careful with my risk management, even though the chart is telling me that. I would need to wait maybe another week or two and confirm that price stabilize above there, above that previous resistance area, in order to validate basically the next bull leg, right? So great signal. I would need a confirmation basically in order to, I'm going to move this down, in order to risk again some more. And if we move now to Nasdaq, it's a very similar story, as you can see. Let me just remove these. Very, very similar. So same scenario for me. I'm just going to move this back down. This is where we found basically the bottom. And I'm going to need to see another few weeks. Remember, this is a weekly time frame, right? So each candle has a lot more weight behind it. I will need to see confirmation maybe the next week or two, staying above that level. And that would confirm statistically, at least to me, as per like chart reading and technical analysis, the start of the next bull leg. So we will see, right? If we now look at the European index, very similar story. Let me get rid of that. We said exactly the same thing 2 weeks ago. We broke very neatly past, really free fall, pull back to the support area, now a resistance, and we didn't know if we would stay within the boundaries or drop back further, right? Breakthrough, pull back, drop. We actually just came back to the upper range, right? and even closed above, and this is the start of this week. I'm recording this on a Monday, apology. But we literally even closed above, right? So that's quite positive. This is a great recovery. Honestly, on DAX, it looks less frank, less clear, the close, as for the American indices. So I would probably expect that to play a tennis match again for some time, and possibly later this year. I'd love to see that. Similar to here, right? Beautiful tight consolidation break. That was amazing. Pullback, and then we dropped. The war started here. I would love to see something similar on DAX. Still ranging, so we are in a moderate risk management. And if we look over the CAC 40, it's a very similar story. So I'm going to remove all the drawing. It's just very, very similar. We were watching for this area previously. Same thing, drop, break the level. We were wondering, is it like we bounced off there, pull back? Are we going to drop further or not? We actually came back well within the range. And I would basically expect the price to possibly keep playing a tennis match like that, and then later this year, same thing, break above there would be a beautiful start of potentially a bullish leg, and that wouldn't be before this summer, right? Again, it could be that you have a V bottom, something like this, boom, break to the upside, but that's not healthy, right? What I like to see is just this kind of shock of volatility be absorbed. The higher the volatility, the longer it should take for that to be absorbed in a pretty nice consolidation pattern for it to be healthy, right? If you're going to recover too quickly, you're going to run out of steam quickly as well, right? Going to get into like climax runs and so on. That's not what we want. Beautiful steady staircase is great, like that, especially on indices. So let's see what happens over the next few months. Moving on now to precious metals with gold, and nothing much to share on gold. We are still in the same scenario. 2 weeks ago we were here, so we said we had a big pullback on the week of March 23rd. We were back within that large range over there, and what we did say is like it may take some time to consolidate. I drew that arbitrarily, right? I'd love to see that beautiful cup and handle. The longer and the tighter the handle is that contrast with the cup, the better the pattern. So I would love to see that. I would need to see that to take a speculative trade on gold, and that would take the rest of the year to build. Q2, Q3 definitely, even maybe Q4. So nothing to say here. Wait and observe. And if we move over to silver, this is a similar story as well. We found basically bottom right there on silver. I'm going to remove that. We're basically now ranging, right? Are we going to range over there? Actually, I'm gonna put it back. Are we going to range over there? Are we going to be ranging? So I don't know if we're going to range over there between this boundary like this, or if we're going to range, is it going to be more volatile? I don't know. This could take many different shape and size, but I mean, you see the size of that candle, right? We had gap after gap after gap up, gap up again, and massive drop, massive correction, right? So yeah, it looks to me that the party is over. We need some I don't know what to expect from silver, to be honest, but unless maybe we would form basically we have a lower pivot line like here, for example, and I would trade that. Have a beautiful formation of like a tight base with, again, you start to know me, if you're watching my videos, a beautiful reduction of volatility toward the end and a clean break. We do have overhead resistance there, so the longer the pattern, the tighter the handle, the better. Again, this is a weekly time frame, so a beautiful pattern like that with a tight contraction of volatility and a clean break and volume has a lot of weight, a lot of meaning behind it, and that's what I look for when I trade. Moving on to cryptocurrencies now with Bitcoin, and I switched over to the logarithmic scale. So beautiful. Does it mean that now the Bitcoin is out of its kind of bear leg? Maybe. So let me remove the drawing. We were watching for this area over there. We had a beautiful, it looks like a double bottom, right? 1, 2, and back up. We are above the previous basically resistance line over there, key level. We are also above the all-time high of 2021. It's looking healthy. So I think what's going to be important for me is to see what happens over the next few weeks around this level, right? And you'd want basically, I'd want the price to hold over there. We could say that we have a next like resistance area, which is over there. So price to hold over there, maybe revisit this one, oscillate, and a break, right? And then revisit later in 2026 the previous all-time high, consolidate further, and then break again toward the end of maybe early 27, I don't know. But you see, right, this, like I said, the more volatility, the more dramatic the drop, the longer it should take for it to absorb, to rebuild something clean, right? So that's what I see on Bitcoin. And if we switch over to Ethereum, yeah, it's a similar story as well. Our scenario is still at play. We had a beautiful little cup and handle over there. Would you look at that? There is the cup, little handle, and a break above that kind of resistance line over there. So as a reminder, we are possibly, we are right now in a very large triangle multi-year since 2021 in Ethereum. As you can see, again, logarithmic scale. The price is really getting narrower and narrower, contracting within this. So possibly, yeah, again, I don't know if that's going to happen, but this takes time to absorb this kind of volatility, this kind of drop. So beautiful consolidation, maybe 2027 building something very nice. Look at this oscillation, right? Look how consistent it's been, like this, down, so maybe up, down, and then around end of 2027, 2028, a break, and that would be a beautiful trade, a clean break above the previous all-time high like this, with a pattern like that. That would be amazing. But we're not there yet. A lot of things can happen. That's just the kind of like mental scenario that I have. Finishing up with DBC, the commodity index. So yeah, shock of volatility, massive gap, lol. Look at the side of the candles again compared to the rest, right? It's just like erratic. It's just like there's a lot of action basically for the past couple months, as you can see. Yeah, potentially some form of consolidation. I don't know, the bottom somewhere there we have an area. Is difficult to pinpoint, but we kind of have a support area somewhere there, right? So it's possible that we have some kind of bottom over there, and we'd have price just oscillating, maybe breaking to the upside later this year, but definitely volatile correction. We'll see, right? For sure, the craziness around oil has been driving this up big time. As things calm down in the Middle East, are we going to see the price of commodities flattening? I don't know, but definitely this was a signal for the signal for a bullish leg, climax run, maybe even hyper climax run, right? And super climax run, and then consolidation right now, right? Nothing much else to say. As for oil, definitely consolidating in that area. It's very erratic, right? It's difficult to make sense of any of that. We revisited a few times. You see break with a gap above that clear resistance area. Stayed up, Darth Maul, a week, revisiting there, staying there, revisiting the support, staying there, revisiting the support, and last week again revisiting the support as well. So it's difficult to tell. We are probably ranging. We are in these two boundaries. I really don't know what that would look like. I wouldn't trade that anyways, but it's just interesting to observe. And you can see that, with the ceasefire, basically like last week, right? A bit of a doji with a bigger body, right? Indecision, right? Don't know which direction to go. So let's observe the next few weeks and see how this turns out. That's kind of it for this week, right? I think thanks for watching. The main takeaway is even if the markets are showing strong sign of recovery, it's great, it's positive. I would just be a little bit wary of like what's gonna happen over the next few weeks, right? We are just one news away from Trump or Iran, right, to reverse that and to bring it back into range and so on. So enthusiasm is great, it's positive, I like that. I love bull markets, right? That's when the screeners are full, that's when I see more opportunities, so I'm very glad. I would just have some caution, exercise some caution, and wait for the next maybe 2-3 weeks to see that we are really holding our ground over there, and then resuming basically the bull market. That's all. Head over to the website, subscribe, Telegram, the channel. See you in the next one.